Excellent. Yeah, Eric, if you can come online, we have Eric Felt with us here. He is the director for the Space Vehicles Directorate in Kirtland Air Force Base, where he does research across many of these exciting new space capabilities that are there. Eric, over to you, and give us a little bit of an introduction. What do you see in this potential space prime?
Thank you, Nate, and hello, space prime enthusiasts. I'm thrilled to be with you here this morning to introduce this topic because we're going to get a lot of good out of this and a lot of excitement. We're going to talk a little bit about history and then a lot about the future of space. And so let me first talk a little bit about history. We're going to go back to about 1800s, and you're going to put your mind into the westward expansion of the U.S., and those are the opportunities that are out there. That's what we see coming in space, and that's the kind of thinking that we want to invigorate with the Space Prime event. Second important history point is 1960s, when we had the space race and all the excitement about space, and we're seeing that same excitement again. This is the second space age that our nation has entered into, and one of the most important things this time, though, is it's being driven by commercial industry, not by the government. And so that's what Space Prime is all about, is how do we leverage and encourage and accelerate that commercial innovation to benefit our nation and our DOD. So there's your history lesson, 1800 and the 1960s. And now we're going to focus a little bit on the future and the future of space and how we can help shape that, and how Space Prime is going to help us with that. If you can pull up the slide on what is a prime, we will start there. So prime is all about priming the pump. And Nate may have already talked about this, but we are looking for a business, a portion of the space commercial enterprise that already has a lot of commercial interest and a lot of commercial investment, and we want to, from the government, see how we can prime and encourage that. And so it has to be an area that has strategic importance, both to the commercial sector and to the government sector. It has to be an area that where the U.S. government can actually do some good and help, and not just financial help. All right, most of the investment in this area is probably going to come from the private sector, but we are going to put in some government money but that's not the only thing. We also want to provide technical support when that can be helpful. We've got our AFRL SMEs, we've got SMEs across the government that we can tap into and help with technical advice and support. Sometimes it's important that we set standards. Sometimes it's important that we reduce policy barriers. Those are the other kinds of things besides financial support that we're looking to implement here. It needs to be a contested market. One of our reasons for doing this is to keep the U.S. competitive advantage in this area, in this part of space. So today you'll get to help us figure out what exactly that means and what area is most important for us to pursue to maintain this contested market. And then it should lead to beneficial collaboration. So Agility Prime's certainly been a great success with the flying cars. And we want something like that in the space arena. So that's what Prime is. So let's talk about this space commercial market. Again, let me take you back to 1800s and the sense of opportunity with the westward expansion and all of the settlement that at that time we knew was coming, but there was just so much excitement about how to implement it. That's where we see space right now. So the next great frontier lies between here and the moon. Lots of commercial interest in doing various things up in that regime. And then the question is, how can we help encourage that commercial activity, enable that commercial activity, and fund a little bit of the key parts of that commercial activity in partnership with industry to make this happen and to make it happen faster. So the Morgan Stanley projects that the space economy is going to increase, $350 billion up to $1 trillion by 2040. How do we encourage that, make sure that that is the future that we get to in space through this Space Prime event?
Colonel Felt, sorry to interrupt. If you could put the PowerPoint in presentation mode, that way we can see you speaking and your full slides.
Will do, and thank you for the tip there. On the next slide, which is the session A versus session B, we've done a little bit of brainstorming already, but our main goal today is to get inputs from you, the participants, on that will help shape the way forward on this. So on topic A, we've been together space mobility, transport, and logistics. This is really, other than launch, and launch has kind of become a commodity that we view as mostly a solved problem commercially, and that's good. So other than launch, how do we enable the logistics that we need in space? Every operating domain is foundationally dependent upon the logistics that are present and available in that domain. Those are huge enablers to all the other activity that's going to happen. How do we get after those? And we cite some specific examples up there in session A. That'll be the first 30 minutes of this session that's about to start. Session B is not part, and this is really zooming in on a part of logistics, and that's really data access, data transport, the internet in space. We all don't worry about how the data gets around on the surface of the Earth and the terrestrial comm links. That's the vision for space too. In the DoD, we call that the Space Combat Cloud. In industry, it's really just the cloud. And how do you make sure that your data gets where it needs to be? And that includes computing. We do envision significant advances in edge computing and making sure we're able to do processing on the satellites. And that's part of session B, the second half hour, and the space data access. So lots of different topics covered in each of these, but these are kind of the two focus areas that we've zoomed in on, but this is still not specific for a space prime topic. So the main goal in session A and in session B is further refinement of these things. On the discussion questions, this is the most important part probably, and this is really where you're gonna be able to help us zoom in on what we need to have as our space prime topic. We are not going to decide on the space prime topic today, but we're going to decide soon. And this is a really important input into what we're going to pick. So again, we're looking for things that are dual use. And on the commercial benefit questions, you know, we're looking for things where we can make a difference with a small bit of money and the other help that I mentioned from the government. We're looking for things that have a near-term business opportunity that is going to get venture capitalists and other private investors excited about it. That's going to lead to a big market, a large market that the U.S. has a huge opportunity, and that U.S. businesses have a huge opportunity to dominate if we can help make that happen. And so those are some of the questions that we're going to get to on the commercial side of things. And then that's, of course, part of the question. The other side there on the right is what are the national security benefits of each of these potential topic areas, and how are they going to help the military? And again, we've got kind of a Venn diagram with two circles here, and we're looking for stuff in the middle, where this Space Prime event is going to be able to help both the commercial side of things and the national security side of things. So I have long had, from my own AFRL side, my list of tech needs, and that's not what we're talking about here, but what I am talking about is where do my tech needs and opportunities intersect with commercial tech needs and opportunities. That's where we're going to find the best Space Prime topics. So these are some of the questions that we're seeking to get answers to, and we'll have, you know, guided discussions for 30 minutes on each of the potential subject areas. All right, with that, there's your history lesson and there's your future lesson. All right, it's not 1800 anymore and it's not 1960s, but it is 2021 coming up super soon, and we are going to have a great Space Prime topic in 2021, and we need your help to help make it successful. So thanks for your interest. Look forward to the discussion.
Thanks, Colonel Felt. These are going to be great workshops coming up. Thanks for that overview.